What will the landscape of figure makers look like a decade or two from now? We talk with teenage puppet builder Jeffrey Golc today on
Ventriloquism Weekly.
Hello to all you wonderful listeners out there. I love each and every single one of you. You multiply each week, and we are in our 8th week. 2 months we've been doing this, and the time has flown by like that. I don't know if you can hear, but I snapped into the microphone. I love doing this, and I love all of you guys. Thank you for listening. It's an honor. And it is Monday, August 19th, and I am happy to be back from my working vacation in Branson, Missouri. We'll have a bit more about what you can expect from my trip a little later, but I bring up the trip because I owe our followers a quick apology and a bit of an explanation. To those of you that got this past week's episode with Steve Axtell a few days early, I'm really sorry about that. I tried to use the hosting site's time release publisher so that I could actually upload it and have it online before leaving, and it would publish at the date and time that we do new episodes, but because I didn't know what my computer access would be, but it failed. There was some technical difficulties. I don't know if I did something wrong or something happened on the hosting site or what happened, but it published, I think, on a Saturday. So again, I'm really, really sorry about that. And those of you that got that and listened to that have been waiting over a week for this week's episode. So enough of my babbling. Let's get to it. I met our guest this week at Vent Haven and was immediately taken away by how articulate he is and just what a great guy he is. And I think you will be too. You'll be very impressed. He is a 14-year-old, very talented figure maker who has even started to sell some of his work, especially after getting a bump from Jeff Dunham. Here to talk about that and so much more is Jeffrey Golc. Jeffrey Golc, welcome to the program.
Hello, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Well, it is so great when I get to talk to young people and see what they are doing in this art form and their direction in life because of this art. And so I just want to ask, what got you interested in figure making?
Well, it kind of started with the fact that I started wanting to be a ventriloquist after watching The Muppet Show and seeing Edgar Bergen on it. And I didn't have the money to buy a figure. And the figures that I could buy, the pull strings, just didn't suit my fancy. So I had to build one. And I was expecting to build like a McElroy right off the bat. That didn't happen. No. I've been doing it ever since. It's a great process to learn how to do, and it's hard, but very fun.
What kind of characters do you like to create? What inspires you to start building a puppet?
You know, they come from anywhere. It's very strange. Like, if there's like a character that just comes to me, if there's someone in class or if there's someone I know, I just sit down on my workbench and sculpt. And when I come to the conclusion that I have a face that I like, I cast it and start building. I mean, crazy.
Certainly is. And Jeff Dunham has been a big supporter of your efforts. Can you talk a little bit about your adventures with Jeff?
Yeah. Well, a couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to make figure making a little bit easier for people. So I made a ventriloquist dummy kit that consisted of a pre-made head that you could sculpt your features on, and then a booklet that taught you how to make the body and everything else, paint it, and so on and so forth. And, well, Jeff Dunham and Robin Tate, his manager, saw it, and apparently they really liked it. And Jeff Dunham mentioned me in his lecture, and needless to say, right after it, I sold them all right away. So it was amazing. But then he took me on his tour bus, and I got to go on like a day of tour with him, which was amazing. He taught me a lot in his workshop, and that's probably the best knowledge I've come across in a long time. And how nice that guy is just amazing. I mean, it's crazy how generous and everything. Um, so it was just a great experience. He's very knowledgeable. So anything you can get from anyone that's knowledgeable like that, I was going to take. But from him, it was amazing.
Who are your other figure builder inspirations? Who inspires you? If we were to look around in the dealer's room at convention or online and see all these different figure makers, who do you look to as a source of inspiration?
My favorite two figure makers right now are Jimmy Eisenberg and Scott Bright. Something about their characters just inspire me. And Jimmy Eisenberg has helped me a lot in building figures and the process in which that you build them. And I mean, the knowledge that I've gained from him is crazy because he's so generous in teaching me and any young figure maker or ventriloquist anything that he has. He's like an open book. So and I like his figures too. So he's my favorite figure maker. And Scott Bright carves out of basswood, and his figures are just perfect. He spends so much time. I happen to own one of his figures, and it's one of my main figures, and it's just great. I mean, he's an amazing figure maker. Another figure maker that I really like is Tim Sahlberg, because he just leaves no little detail out. Has to look perfect to let it out of the shop, which I really admire that.
Yes. What was the most surprising thing that you learned when you started building figures and uh yeah, talk about one of the things you didn't expect.
There are a couple of things that I didn't expect. I didn't expect that it took so much time and you had to be so patient. And I've been teaching a couple other people, trying to teach them how to build figures. And it's very hard because it takes a long time for you to develop patience to build one. Because you can't just start at the beginning of the day and end with like a perfect figure. It's going to take you weeks if you want it to look good. So I was very surprised on that. I was also surprised on how hard casting was. And then I was also surprised on how easy carving was. Carving on wood came to me pretty fast.
Yeah, and you know, how important is it for people of your age to become figure makers, get interested in that side of the art? It's kind of unexplored by a lot of people, 14, 15, even all the way up to 19 and 20. How important is it for that art form to be passed to the youth?
Well, in the puppet world, like in puppetry, puppeteers make their own puppets. But in ventriloquism world, ventriloquists don't make their own figures. And, well, a majority of them don't. And I feel like that is the problem because if they, I mean, because they don't, they are depending on someone else to do it. And there aren't a lot of young people that can actually do it. So when the people that can do it now die, right now, we won't have very many figure makers. And those one or two people that have learned how to do it are going to be booked. And I really think that young people getting involved in this is very important to keep the art alive. I mean, we talked about it a couple of years ago, my first convention. Everyone is talking about how ventriloquism, the art, is dying. And now there's a lot of kids that come, and we don't think the art is going to die. But in figure making, I don't know, because at the moment, there are not a lot of young figure makers, and I feel like it's very important for them for anyone to just start working, and tools are awesome. So start building figures.
Do you consider yourself, and I know, let me explain myself. Do you consider yourself an artist? As in, those people that go, I can't build figures because I can't draw or I can't do this side of art. What would you say that it's completely different or that they really do have parallels?
I would say ventriloquism or figure building is a form of art because, I mean, sculpting is art
Right.
and painting is art, but you put all those things in to create one piece. And I think anyone can do it, but it will take practice. So I do think it's very much so art, but I don't think anyone should go there, like put it in a group and, just put ventriloquist figure making in a group of artists because if someone's not artistic, they can still be figure makers. Like I was not the most artistic person ever, and I can build figures okay. So I think a lot of people can build figures, but they just don't want to take the time. And
Right.
it's really not that difficult if you actually buy the books and stuff, which there's quite a bit of resources out there. And like the Fred Project online, it's free. And I mean, it taught me so much.
Right. Now, do you prefer hard figures over soft figures, or are there benefits and drawbacks to building both?
Well, I like building hard figures because I've built more hard figures. I feel like soft figures are easier for me to build because, I mean, they're less work than the hard figures. Um, I feel like a lot of people right now like to perform with the soft figures just because they're very manipulated, like you can manipulate them very well. Versus a hard figure, depending on the way the body's made, you can't pivot it on the
Hmm.
stand. This kind of takes a lot of life out of the figure. So I think I like whatever the person who's buying it likes. So if the person who's buying the figure likes soft puppets a bunch, I'm like, oh, I love soft puppets because they're all into it. But if they like hard figures, I'm going to be into hard figures.
Right.
So I mean, but then again, where I started with hard figures, so I think my favorite is hard figures.
What's it like selling your figures at such a young age? I mean, that's so cool that you know what you're doing and you do it so well that you're actually able to have the little seedlings of a business that I personally hope, and I know a lot of other vents out there hope will grow into something much more. So what's it like being 14 years old and having a business?
It's hard because most people, when they think, oh, a 14-year-old making things, they're thinking, oh, they're going to make like little bracelets out of things. But I make full-size ventriloquist figures. And I try my best to make them as high quality as possible. So people don't tend to not take me seriously because I'm younger. It's very difficult to go, okay, I'm going to build you this figure. You're going to have to put like a down payment on it or something. That's hard for them to say because they don't. It's hard for them to trust someone my age. But there's also a good part of it is the fact that they know I'm younger and I will be able to build them figures forever
Hmm.
because they're older than me. People who buy figures from me tend to be older than me, which is good. So I will always be their figure maker. Now, I think it's very difficult to have like known as a business, but I don't count it as a business because I don't have really constant orders. But when I have orders, I get them done. So would you count that as a business or not? I I can say it's a kind of business, the moderate business.
Yeah. It's well, you're 14. And that's not a drawback at all, but you're 14 and you're just starting, so people are just becoming aware of the service that you have available. So hopefully, and I say hopefully through this program and through other mediums that you're able to get your work out there, um, you'll have more business. Which leads me to my next question: where can people go to find your pictures of your figures and how to get in touch with you if they'd like to talk to you about building a figure?
Well, I'm trying right now. I'm working on my website. I am actually working on a new figure line that I'm going to sell through another website. I can't really tell you what because it's not all a done deal, but I'm working on it. And uh, the I you can email me and you can look on my Facebook. I have some pictures of my figures, but I mean, Facebook is probably the easiest way to get to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on my website, and I'll try to get it done as soon as possible. But that's my goal for this year, to get that done. My new website to sell figures versus performing, and that'll be an adventure, because I want to have the whole, you can build your figure online versus otherwise, like different pictures of different hairs and eyes,
Great.
So I'm working on it, but it's coming along. But just if you guys are interested in wanting me to build a figure for you, I can do it. You can just Facebook me, and I'll get back to you. No problem.
Yes, yeah, that's great. And of course, we will let our listeners know when your website is up. You'll keep us updated up here, and we'll tag that into one of the episodes. And so, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for being with us, Jeffrey. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
You take care.
You take care too.
Thank you again to Jeffrey Golc. Please go check out his work on Facebook. I'm going to encourage him over the next couple of days to get some more pictures up so you guys can really see. He has some earlier pictures on there, but I don't know about anything too recent. So I'm going to encourage him to get some more stuff up, because I know you guys are going to want to go and check that out and maybe even place an order. And one of the reasons this exists is not only for a discussion forum with the pros, but to have a medium out there for the new lifeblood of this art form, and so that people coming up can see not only where it is right now, where it's been, but where it's going, and the new people to get in contact with, and to encourage and come up in this art form. So again, go check out his work. And I'm very, very excited about next week. And this is where we get into some of the stuff from my trip, because we'll be bringing you a roundtable discussion with Jim Barber and Todd Oliver, taped live at the Hamner Barber Theater in Branson, Missouri. We just sat around a table in a box office late after the Hamner Barber show and just talked about Vent for quite some time. I don't know how long, but I haven't checked the video since I've been back, but I'm excited to bring kind of a new dimension, because A, it's not a phone conversation, and B, it's a round table, more than one person. I'm very excited about the new dimension of interview that we're able to do with this. It's going to be great. I'm thrilled that I was able to do it. And I'm talking behind the microphone with as much astonishment as you probably could possibly imagine. I hope you hear it, because I can't believe this has happened. We've been doing this for 2 months, and the kind of people we've talked to and the kind of people I've met as a result is just fantastic. And at the 2-month mark, I really, really do want to thank the listeners, even more so than usual. And I'm always very thankful. But 2 months, and here's to 2 more months and 2 more years, and we'll see what happens. And we'll see you next week. And that's it for us this week. Write to us. Take charge of your podcast. Send your thoughts on all of our topics to ventriloquismweekly@gmail.com. Please, that's why I created the email account. I want your feedback, and I need it. This is your show. I could babble for hours because I like to talk, but I want your thoughts. So send them our way. All of our episodes are available to download on iTunes. Here's a thought, because we're on iTunes. Say you live in a big city. All right? Pop one of our podcasts on your iPod and sit on the subway. 20, 30 minutes goes by. You finally get to your destination. They went by. That half an hour disappeared because you spent it with us. I know, shameless plug, but hey, download us. You can actually keep the episodes on your computer, which I think is cool, modern technology. You can also listen and follow us on our hosting site, ventriloquismweekly.podomatic.com. ventriloquismweekly.podomatic.com. That is the Facebook of our podcast, if you will. I'm allowed to post tweet-like statuses and all kinds of different things on there. So go ahead and follow us on there. We're up to 20 followers as of this week, so that's fantastic. Like I said, thank you guys so much. This is beyond what I could have ever imagined when I plugged the microphone into my laptop. So thank you very, very much for everything. And signing off for Ventriloquism Weekly, I'm Matt Bailey, reminding all you vents out there to keep talking for two.